something new. Okay. Let me open your chat. All right. So today we'll discuss about cluster networking instances. Cluster networking instances. Custom AMI is nothing but golden AMI. Vandana. Guys, what is cluster in general called? What is cluster? Yes, it is a part of EC2. Group. Group of what? Group of servers only, na? Nice. So cluster here, yes, you're right. So cluster meaning here group of servers. That meaning here group of, instead of servers, we call it as what? EC2 instances. So cluster meaning group of servers. Here EC2 instances. But here, this group, the group what you're talking about, this group is called here placement group. What is this called, guys? Placement group. What is cluster? Cluster is a group of servers or group of EC2 instances, and that group is called placement group. And group is called placement group. Okay, can you tell me one thing here, guys? So when you launch a new EC2 instance, the EC2 service will place in the instance in such a way that all your instances are spread out of across different hardwares in the backend. Yes or no? Or whatever the EC2 instance that you will launch, it will be in the only one host, or it will be in different hosts. It will be placed in different hosts. It cannot be in one host, right? Yes. Okay, now. So if you have, let's say that can be in the same in the same availability zone, right? One availability zone meaning you have different multiple data centers in the backend, right? Yeah. So, but if you want to have this EC2 instances placed in only a particular place, only in a like group, only in a single availability zone, or only in a single rack or same rack, then that is called here placement groups. So basically like this. So this is AWS. This is AWS. And we have EC2 instances. For example, I have 24. Okay. So guys, yes, it's like that, Babji. Yeah. So guys, you know what is placement group? Placement group is nothing but the group of servers, the group of EC2 instances. Here we call it as, in EC2 we call it as placement group. Okay. Before going further, let me write this, why we need this. Because, see, so when you launch a new EC2 instance, the EC2 service will place the instances in such a way that all your instances are spread out across different hardwares. Hardwares are nothing but host machines. in the back. Yeah. Right. So here, placement group, we have 3 types of placement groups. How many types of placement groups are there, guys? 3 types of placement groups. Number 1 is cluster placement group. Number 2 is spread placement group. And number 3 is partition placement group. There are 3 types of groups. Very important. Guys, cluster placement group, spread placement group, and partition placement group. Let's talk about cluster placement group. Guys, cluster placement group meaning, yes, cluster placement group meaning, guys, placement group itself is grouping the servers. So first one is cluster placement group. Cluster placement group meaning, guys, grouping the servers in the same availability zone, in the same rack, in the same here. So grouping the server in same grouping the servers in the same or single availability zone or in the same rack, right? So this is called cluster placement group. Yes, very good. So group of servers in the same availability zone in the same rack. Guys, can you tell me one thing here? So if I group the EC2 instances in the same rack, in the same availability zone, how about the performance? If the EC2 instances are next to next, how about the performance between them? High performance or low performance? Definitely high performance. So if the EC2 instances are next to next, definitely there will be a high performance, because see guys, so all your EC2 instances are neck to neck, that meaning it's next to next here, and then if you have anything to talk to each other, here, yeah, you will have a definitely high performance. So you know what? There is no delay. Yeah, you will get in high performance, right? If you are in this, if all the EC2 instances in the same rack meaning like as Babji said, library in the same shelf, right? All the EC2 instances in the same shelf, and there is a super high performance. You know what? So the speed between 2 EC2 instances are 20 Gbps. How much is that? 20 Gbps, guys. For how much is our internet speed here? How much is your internet speed, guys? Yeah. So here we get 100 or maximum 75, 50, 20 or 175, 200 max. But here those are all Mbps. But here it is 20 Gbps. The speed between 2 EC2 instances, if you place in the same rack, is 20 Gbps. If it is 20 Gbps, how about the performance? Boom. The performance is, you get super high performance. So guys, if you need a high performance between the EC2 instances, then you can, then you can go with the cluster placement group. But as it is in the same rack, as it is in the same availability zone, mostly same rack, what happens if that rack fails? You have a high availability, but do you have a very high availability? No. So if one is gone, all gone. So that meaning you have low high availability. You will get a super high performance, but low high availability. Right? So yes. So guys, if you have a requirement of grouping the servers in the same rack, in the same availability zone, if you need to have a high performance, then go for cluster placement group. But keep this in mind, you also have the other side, that if one rack goes down and everything is like boom, like I'll show you. Yes, do you see this here? All the EC2 instances can talk to each other right? And then the same rack, same availability zone. So one way it is 10 Gbps and the two way is 20 Gbps, right? You have a very good, great network, but the cons here is if the rack fails, all the instances in the fails at the same time. This is called cluster placement group, right? Coming to spread placement group, guys, if your EC2 instances are spread, yes, it is fixed, right? So if your EC2 instances are spread across multiple availability zones, guys, here, for example, I took 1A, 1B, 1C, right? So if your EC2 instances are spread across multiple availability zones in different hardwares, can you tell me? Here in this case, do you have a super high availability? Yes or no? Yes, but how about the performance? Compared to cluster placement group, spread placement group performance is little bit low. You cannot say like low performance, but little bit less, that's all, right? But yeah, but the thing is here, guys, so your EC2 instances are spread across multiple availability zones. That is why it is called spread placement group. That's why it is called as spread placement group. So here also, guys, if you have, let's say for example, if you have a critical application, yes, if you have a critical applications, will you go for spread or cluster? Second one, spread placement group. Very good. So if you need a high speed, high performance between the EC2 instances, then go for number one. If you need high availability, then go for number two, split. You understood? And keep this in mind, in one availability zone, you can have maximum 7 EC2 instances only. How many? 7 instances per availability zone. 7 instances per availability zone. Let me write that now. Split placement group. So here, EC2 instances are spread across multiple availability zones. So here you will have a high HA and you can go for all critical applications. You can go for this spread placement. And how many instances per availability zone? Per one AC, you can have 7 instances. Coming to partition placement groups, the same concept, right? But here you can have partitions. So in each partitions, guys, you can have hundreds of EC2 instances. You can have partitions, you can have hundreds of EC2 instances, and how many partitions you can have is 7 partitions. But EC2 instances, you can have as many as you want in each partition. But keep this in mind, if one partition goes down, fadak, Ashish is asking, but what about performance in spread? Ashish, did you saw this here? We just discussed. Guys, how about the performance compared to your cluster placement group in spread placement group? Little bit less. We have discussed that, Ashish. Yeah. Concentrate. Little bit less. Yes. So in partition placement group, you can have 7 partitions per availability zone, and you can have hundreds of EC2 instances. And see, instances in the same partition do not share the instances with the other partitions. So each partition has a different complete hardwares. You can think of a host, one host. But here the problem is, if one partition goes down, all your EC2 instances are gone. Yes. So you have different types of placement groups here. Based on your requirement, you can go and choose it. So, and this guy is about, so across availability zones you can have it, and maximum how many partitions? 7 partitions, right? And one partitions contains hundreds of EC2 instances. Make sense? Clear, guys? Clear? Till here, everyone? Sissy? Yes. Nice. Guys, so if you in the placement group, yes. So in the placement group, HA per is equal to 3. I didn't understand the question, Babji. Third one. High availability, yes. So high availability is compared to less only, na, because quick explanation. Cluster meaning group of servers. Praveen. Cluster meaning group of servers. Group of servers meaning cluster only here. So to answer your Babji, your question here is compared to high availability is little bit less, because here if one partition goes down, all your EC2 instances are gone. Yeah. Between the EC2 instances, within the same partition, the performance is good. But across so across availability zone, again, as it is in different partition in different hardwares, performance is not compared to cluster, it is also little bit lower. Yeah, thanks. So guys, so now the question here is in the cluster, isn't it good to have, yes, isn't it good to have the same instance type or different instance type? Let's say, for example, in the cluster, do you want to have one T2 micro and one big one smaller one big one, like that? Or is it good to have the same instance type? Same instance type. So guys, remember, placement groups are recommended to have the same instance type, because if you need to have a very good performance, placement group should have the same homogeneous instances. Placement groups recommend to have homogeneous instances. That meaning same instances. So keep this in mind. You can add the instances to the placement groups anytime. You can add instances to the placement group anytime. So let's say, for example, you have created a cluster placement group already, right? Yeah. Depends. So if guys, so you have already, which one is the most using? We cannot say which one is the most using, guys. It's purely depend upon the requirement. There is a case that you need to have. So see, by the way, why do you set up this cluster first of all? For huge performance, guys. For huge performance, for extreme high performance, then you will go for setting up. You will set it up this cluster concept, right? So, and then if you have setting up this cluster, then you will get in your mind that, hey, do you need to, whatever the application that you are supporting, you need to have a high performance, or you compared to, you need to have high performance, then go for the cluster placement group. And if you think that you need to have a very high availability, and then you're not convincing about going down, then go for the spread placement group. And then based on the same requirement, you go for the partition placement group if you need to have a partition based. It's purely depend upon the requirement. Yeah. Yes. Guys, clear on the clusters based in networking instances? It is chargeable. Yes, it is. Can you tell me one thing? Which instance type will be using it in our course? Which instance type? T2 micro, no? Right? Which instance type? T2 micro. So T2 So guys, you are expecting high performance. Will you get high performance with T2 micro? Then, right? So if you want to do this, you need to be out of your free dial. Yes. Yeah. So can't we use in our practicals? No. You need to pay and use it. Yeah. So, did you miss the class, Ashish? Yesterday's class or day before yesterday's class? Then, so what is instance type, guys? So instance type is basically whenever, yes, what is the instance type? The instance type what we will be using is T2 micro, right? Yeah, T2 micro, yes, you're right. Babji, it is not about volumes. Instance type is asking about. So guys, whenever you're launching the EC2 instance, you need to select a type. You need to select a type. So how much you need? Each instance type is coming up with the particular capacity. Like T2 micro will come with T2 nano will come with 0.5 GB RAM and one CPU. T2 micro will come with one CPU, 1 GB RAM and one CPU. T2 small, medium, large, X large. So based on how it is going, the RAM and CPU, the capacity goes on increasing. So based on the requirement, you need to select. If you need to have 8 GB RAM, go and select instance type, particular instance type. If you need 200 GB RAM, then go and select the particular instance type. It is about the capacity of the EC2 instance. Yes, but in our course, we should be using only T2 micro because that is, yes, you're right. Okay, so next important thing here is, guys, is key pair. What's that? Key pair. No. KM is different. Key pair. So key pair meaning simply, guys, okay, now to talk about the key pair first. So let's say this is our EC2 instances. This is the EC2. This can be a Windows machine or this can be a Linux machine. Okay, guys. In order to connect, yes. So hold on. Hold on. Not good for health. Don't jump. Let us finish. Let us talk first. So guys, so yeah. In order to log into the EC2 instance, what all the things that you need to have? If you want to log into a server, what are the things that you need to have? Tell me. IP, username, and password. Very good. Rightly said. So you need to have IP. Guys, don't worry about the IP because IP address will be provided by AWS. IP address will be provided by AWS. And how about the username? Okay. Username. So keep this in mind. For Windows machine, the default username is administrator. What's that? Administrator. The default username. And password. And password is, guys, you get it through key pair. This is what we'll be talking about. So key pair, guys, key pair is used to retrieve the password of your EC2 instance. Simply. No, not secret key. Not secret key. Guys, don't get confused with your access keys and secret keys. Access keys and secret keys are used to log into the AWS console. Guys, yes or no? Access keys and secret keys are used to log into the AWS console. But I'm talking about here, yes, username and password to log into the EC2 instance. Every machine will have username and password. Na? Your laptop will also have username and password, right? To log into the machines that you need to have a username and password. And the username is administrator by default, but keep this in mind. How do you retrieve the password of each EC2 instance? Using key pair. Hold on, right? We'll go deeper into it, you'll understand. So what is key pair first of all? So key pair is used to retrieve the password of EC2 instance. Okay, and we discuss about this here Windows. How about Linux? Let us talk about here Linux also. So how about IP address for the Linux? IP address will be provided by AWS. Username, guys, for Linux, the username is EC2 minus user or Ubuntu. What is the username, guys? Put it, very important. What is the default username in the Linux? Yes. Yes. So whenever you launch an EC2 instance, keep this in mind, the default username for all Linux machines in AWS is EC2 minus user. Yes, it is the same for all. But if you want, you can create by yourself, but you need to have Linux knowledge there. But the default is all the time EC2 minus user. Okay, yeah. So guys, hold on. You need to wait. Please wait. You will get all the question answered. So we need to finish this key pair. Before finishing, you are asking the questions. Let's finish this and then I'll take up your questions. Okay? Yeah. So key pair, guys, is used to retrieve the password of your EC2 instance. So whenever you're launching, how many steps are there to launch an EC2 instance? 7 steps are there, right? So when you're launching the EC2 instance, one of the step is to create a key pair. So initially, we don't have any key pairs in our EC2 console, guys. Initially, we don't have any key pairs to the mesh in our EC2 console. We need to create a key pair. By default, there is no key pairs. We need to create a key pair. And that key pair is also called as PEM file. What is that? PEM file. So first of all, let's write down. So we don't have any key pair by default. We have to create it by ourselves. Okay. We need to create it ourselves. And so we have to create a key pair, right? And that key pair is also called as PEM file. What is that, guys? PEM file, right? So whenever you create a key pair, the key pair extension is .pem. So I told you we need to go and create a key pair, right? We need to go and create a key pair. When you create a key pair from AWS EC2 console, right, you will be allowed to download that key pair. So that is, that key pair extension is .pem. Let me question you guys here. What is the extension of key pair? .pem. What is the extension of the key pair? .pem. Why we need to have the PEM file? Why we need to have the key pair? In order to retrieve the password of your EC2 instance. If you want to retrieve the password of your EC2 instance, you need to have a key pair. By default, do we have any key pair created? No, we need to go and create a key pair. We need to go and create a key pair. So whenever we launch an EC2 instance, every time it will ask to attach the key pair. Whenever you're launching a EC2 instance, at the last step, right? At the last step, it will ask to attach the key pair that you have created. Now, question here is, guys, when you're launching 100 EC2 instances, will you create 100 key pairs or will you create only one key pair? So only one. So the key pair can be used. It is not mandatory to create only one. You can create based on the group, like this, for example. So I have this EC2 instance, this, okay, like this, EC2, okay. Now, let's say, for example, these EC2s is DevOps EC2, okay, DevOps team. This machine is for the DevOps team, and these are developers machine. Okay, now you tell me. So here, yes, right, yes. So guys, here, let's say, for example, what do you recommend? How many key pairs do you recommend in this scenario? You answered. You understood now? Is it mandatory to create only one key, or one key will be used for all, or it depends, right? So for DevOps people, you create a key pair. You create a key pair called DevOps.pem. Right? And whenever you are launching DevOps machine, you attach this DevOps PEM file to your DevOps machine. And the same way, you create another key pair called developer, or dev.pem, and then whenever you are launching developer's machine, you give this key pair here. Right? So this is how you need to manage. So now, can you tell me? So whenever you want to retrieve the password of the EC2 instance, you need to provide this PEM file that you have created. Right? Guys, at the time of launching the EC2 instance, you have attached DevOps.pem file to this DevOps mission, right? Now, I need to know the password of this EC2 instance. How? So there is an option there is option in AWS, get Windows password or something. So you provide this. Guys, this has to be downloaded, and you have to keep this PEM file very safe somewhere. And then, if you want to retrieve it, give this PEM file to this machine, and then AWS will throw back the password to you. Now, can you tell me, can I provide this dev.pem file to this DevOps machine to retrieve the password? No. So whatever the PEM file that you have attached while launching the EC2 instance, you are expected to give the same PEM file to retrieve the password of the EC2 instance of that particular EC2 instance. Make sense? You understood? Slowly? So here, you can create multiple key pairs. And can you tell me, guys, here, one EC2 instance can have how many key pairs attached at any point of time? One. Excellent. One EC2 instance, one key pair. But one key pair can be attached to multiple EC2 instances. Just now we did, na? One key pair we can attach to multiple EC2 instances. Yes. Let me write all those things so that. So whenever we launch EC2 instance, the console will ask you to attach a key pair to the EC2 instance. Okay, yes, and we discussed that you can create multiple key pairs possible. And EC2 instances can have only one key pair attached at any point of time. And one key pair can be attached to multiple EC2 instances. This is what we have discussed. Nice. Okay. Nice, Badri. Yeah. Okay, question here. For every EC2 instance, the password is same or different? For every EC2 instance, password is different. Even though the PEM file is same, guys, PEM file is like a locker, is a key to the machine, right? PEM file is like, you have a locker and you have a key, right? And if you provide the key, then only the locker will get opened, right? Yeah, it's all same. So the password will be different. Password will be like your Bluetooth password, like, it will be like this, it will be like this, right? The Bluetooth password, ampersand like this. So for each password, right? Yeah, each EC2 instance has its own password. But remember, guys, how many times you are retrieving the password from using this PEM file, the password will change or password will be the same? Password will be the same. Password will be the same. So keep this in mind. For every EC2 instance, password is different, first of all. For every EC2 instance, the password is different. Okay? Yeah. So, and here, every time you retrieve the password using PEM file, you will get the same password from the EC2 instance. Nice. I'll come to that point. Guys, keep this in mind. Once key pair is attached while launching the EC2 instance, you cannot change it later. Okay. Once the PEM file is attached, you cannot change the PEM file to the EC2 instance. You cannot change it. So while launching itself, you need to select the proper PEM file. Right, Ashish. Good. Okay. So guys, here what we are doing is we are creating the key pair and then we are downloading it. Yes or no? Everyone agree? We are creating a key pair and we download it, and that key pair will be there in AWS. And when you are launching the EC2 instance, we are attaching to that EC2 instance. And for retrieving the password, whatever we have downloaded, we are giving that PEM file to that EC2 console, and we'll retrieve the password. Yeah. So here, guys, whatever the PEM file that we have downloaded, is a private file, private key. AWS has a public key and we have the private key. When this matches, then only AWS will provide the password of the machine. So for DevOps, you have DevOps.pem file attached, and AWS has DevOps.pem file public key, and we have downloaded the private key. But while retrieving, if I give dev.pem to your DevOps, will we get the password? No, the public key and the private key doesn't match, and the AWS will not give it. So here, guys, who has the public key? These are all certification questions. Guys, why I'm writing this much? So that you can refer it later, right? So AWS has public key and customer has private key. What is a private key? Private key is nothing but your PEM file. Your PEM file is nothing but the private key. So can we say key pair is a combination of public key and private key? Finally, so key pair, if anyone asks you, then you can say that it is a combination of public key and private key. And you know public key is with AWS and private key is with customer. Yes, same, the bank locker also follows the same. Yes. Okay, now the question here for you guys. So let's say I have here not 2 DevOps machines, I have 100 DevOps machines. And for 100 DevOps machines, I have provided DevOps.pem file, only one PEM file to 100 machines. Now, this DevOps.pem file is, I lost it, it's gone. Without PEM file, is it possible to log into the machine? Will you retrieve the password? No. Until unless you have the password saved on your machine anywhere, you are maintaining an Excel sheet, right? You are maintaining an Excel sheet. Then you can, from Excel sheet, you can get the password, because password will not change. Password is same for each EC2 instance. But if you don't manage the Excel sheet and you don't have the PEM file and you cannot log into it, it's gone, it is gone. That is the deadliest, worst thing that you have it in AWS, in EC2. You cannot change the PEM file to another PEM file, right? And then you cannot download it again, right? It will be there in the console, but you cannot download it again, no. So guys, PEM file are generated only one time, and same PEM files cannot be generated multiple times, no. It is gone, it is gone. But the thing is, there is a hack, to crack the password. You can do it, but how about for 100 machines? Will you keep sitting and then cracking 100 machines password? No. So all in all, keep this in mind. Keep the PEM files in safe place. Safe place. And secure it. There's no other thing. Maybe until less, right, AWS is launching new things or enhancing new things. At the moment, the key pairs are like this, like you cannot download it, you cannot change it, you cannot do it anything until unless AWS has come up with something new. Got that, guys? So guys, so the question here is, now, is it a good option? Is it a good option to have one PEM file for 100 EC2 instances? No. Okay, so 10 for 10 machines, one key pair. Right? See, but still there is a problem here. But is it okay? So do you remember the concept of Active Directory that we have discussed in our previous classes? Guys, Active Directory. What is this Active Directory called in AWS? What is this Active Directory called? Directory services. Very good. What is that? Directory services. Very good. So in these directory services, do you remember that? So do you have the password for each and every machine? Do you have the username and password different for each and every machine in that concept? Or you have only one? Yes, you have only one, your username and password. And with that username and password, can you log into thousands machines also? Yes, possible. So in order to eradicate or in order to remove these kinds of conceptions, like this PEM file logging with the administrator and password, so you can leverage that directory services in your real time. That is but the PEM file, you no need to, guys, one more thing. Let's say you have an DevOps 100 machines, and you need to share this PEM file to your DevOps team members now in order to retrieve the password, or will they keep on asking you as an admin, hey, give me the password, give me the password? No. So you need to share this DevOps.pem file to all your 100 DevOps team members, so that they can have it and they can retrieve their password by themselves for each and every machines. And can you tell me, guys, for one EC2 instance, how many people can log in for your Windows machine? 1 or 2 members maximum, right? Yeah. So what is the best practice to use in this case? Guys, only the administrator should have the PEM file and the username administrator and the password. And rest all, what is the best practice to use? Directory services or Active Directory. Right? Active Directory or Directory Service. This concept. Got this? Got this, guys? So same concept will come into picture, like adding all these EC2 instances to the domain controller, right? In the domain controller centralized machine, you create the username and password in that domain controller, and add all the EC2 instances in that domain controller. Do you got that picture already in your mind? There will be a domain controller like this. All your EC2 instances will be like this here. All your EC2 instances. All EC2 instances will be like this. So each and every EC2 instances will have their own username and password. Yes? Every EC2 instance will have its own username and password. Is it possible to remember all those things? Guys, is it possible to remember all these things? No. So what you do is, simply, if you want to log into any EC2 instances, first, make sure you add, this is directory services or domain controller or Active Directory, all this concept. So first what we do is, admin what will do it, guys, admin what will do is, he will add all the EC2, he will join all these EC2 instances to this domain. This is the first thing that admin will do. All the EC2 instances will be joined to the domain, so that, right? And now what he'll do is, he'll go and create the username and passwords here. Like here we call it as Ashish Babji Vandana, etc., etc. Username and password will be there for each and every person. So as we have created the username and passwords here, so as all the EC2 instances are joined to this domain, so Ashish Babji Vandana can log into any machine that has joined to this domain. In this case, is there any possibility of forgetting the password or all these kind of problems with the PEM file? No, you don't have this kind of problem. For that, this is a solution. Right? So this Active Directory is a big ocean, guys. Active Directory is a big ocean, and all your MCSE guys, administrators will know how all this kind of things, and there will be a separate team itself to maintain this Active Directory. That's big how it is, right? That's big. That's very, very big concept. Yeah, but you know the concept here now. Now you understood, guys, here, till here, everyone? Nice. Very good. Very good. Any questions before I take? Any questions? Nice. Okay. So, .pem file only AWS. .pem file only AWS meaning how the content looked like of PEM file. All junk. All junk. You'll have a junk. You want to show a sample PEM file? We will be creating a PEM file also in the practical, but so this is how the PEM file look like. Guys, do you see this? So this is a PEM file. If you edit it, this will look like this, all your gen file. That is answered. Okay. Next question. Public key and private key differences. Okay, I'll come to that. Yes, it's like SSL private key. Very true, I'm sorry. Guys, as AWS is holding the public key, do we need to care about that public key? Not at all. So it's just a definition of the key pair that AWS has the public key and we have the private key. But if do you want to get to know about the public key? No need at all, because AWS handled it. What we need to do is we need to have the private key PEM file with us. That's a private key. Answered? Those who have asked, I think Suraj. Only AWS generate PEM file? Yes. Only AWS will generate the PEM file. That meaning we need to create it, PEM file will be generated by the AWS. Okay? Yes. Nice. Okay, so for example, now here, okay, so I have a Windows instance. Guys, I have Windows instance. For Windows instance, what is the username? Default username, guys? Administrator. And what is the password? Password, you should get it from your PEM file. Yes? Everyone, right? Password, we need to get it from PEM file. Okay. And how about, what is the protocol? Protocol. What is the protocol to log into your Windows machine? Some people say SSH, some people say RDS, some people say, huh? What is a RDS? Okay, you are into AWS a lot, huh? So guys, protocol is here, we use, what protocol do we use to log into the Windows machine? RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. What is that? Remote Desktop Protocol. And how about Linux? So how to log into a Linux instance? What is the username for the Linux instance? Default username? Yes, EC2 minus user. And the password, you get it from your PEM file. Get it from your PEM file. Okay. And what is the protocol do you use for Linux machine? SSH. SSH. You should remember this at least, guys. Okay. Should I need to write it here? Okay, let's write. So for Windows user, for Windows, use remote desktop protocol. So you need to use for Windows, you need to use remote desktop protocol, guys. So RDP, we call it as simple, yeah. Go here and then put as RDP, you will get it. This is remote desktop connection. We will see that in practicals, okay. For Linux, so guys, for Linux, let's see for Linux, this is a little bit different. For Linux, can you, yeah, why not, we will do the practicals. So for Linux, guys, you need to use a separate for Linux, you cannot log into the remote desktop protocol. Na? For Linux, you have to download a small tool called Putty. What's that? Putty. Terminate it. Dipendra. So I created one. You can use the same thing or you can terminate anyway. Why to stop it? Terminate it. Guys, I had a private question. Sorry for that. Yeah. So Putty, guys. Putty, we need to use a concept. We need to use a tool called Putty. Okay. But remember, Putty doesn't support your PEM file. Putty doesn't support PEM file. Putty needs something called PPK file. That's PPK file. So Putty supports PPK file. So don't worry. When we do the practicals, we'll convert this PEM file to PPK and then we'll use it from Putty. Okay, we'll convert and we'll do that. And how you do this conversion? Using a tool called Putty generator. Using a tool called Putty generator. Putty is a tool. This one. Okay, this one. This is a Putty is just a small tool where you to connect your Linux machines. How do you connect your Windows machines, guys? For Windows, this is the tool. For Windows, this one. For Linux, this one. Right? So we will be doing all kind of practicals. Sir, we can use a Git bash also. Why not? Yes, you can use Git bash also. You can use Git bash also, and you can use direct SSH command because Git bash supports Linux commands, right? Yeah, you can use that too. But let's go with the standard mechanism, right? Git bash you will be using in your DevOps classes. Yeah. But you can use it, yes, to answer that. Any questions? Any more questions? Secure, correct. Secure setting also one of the tool to connect. Okay, guys, connecting to the Linux machines, you have so many clients. You can use it, no issues. You can use it, no issues. But the standard mechanism is most of the people use Putty. You have so many tools to do that. Yes. Key pairs we have to give to these tools. Yes. For Putty, for RTP, you don't need to give it, but we need to just give the username and password. That password you should give the PEM file, but for Putty, we need to give the PPK file. So we will do that in practicals. You'll understand. But logically, theoretically, did you understood this? Convert the PPK to PEM file using Putty command line. Right. Yes. Any other questions, guys? I'll stop it here. Because the next concept is a very, 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 very important concept, which is called security groups, which is related to the security for our EC2 instances. That's a big topic, so I cannot have it in 15 minutes, but yeah. So I'm open to the questions now for a couple of minutes. If you have, throw it off. If not, put CC. Can we have a screenshot? Please take it. Let's go ahead with the screenshot meanwhile. While using the Putty, how PEM file we can use? While using Putty, you should use PPK file, not PEM file, Prasad. But for Linux machine, if you want to use PEM files directly, then you should use Linux command line, git bash, etc. Yeah. Vandan, I have already sent all the till now, all the metrics have been sent already. Yes, this will be covered in the practicals. Whatever we discuss, except few things, everything will be covered, guys. Yes. Next slide. Keep pair and MFA important to log in and launch. Yes, login and launch. That's right. Keep it for login. I mean for launching, and then MFA to log into the AWS console. Yes. Someone, I think, someone has asked a question like, can you launch the EC2 instance without key pair? Yes, you can launch it, but provided you should know the password already. I don't know who asked, but I saw that was floating. The question was floating. Yeah. Did that got answered, Praveen? MFA is optional. Can you say that MFA is optional? Yeah, I'm asking you guys. MFA is optional. So MFA, it is not mandatory. Without that, you can also work. I cannot say it is mandatory. I cannot say it is optional though. It is highly, 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 highly recommended. It is for your own security. If you are compromised, then it is optional. Yeah. London example. Yeah. Username password we can use for IAM. Yeah, Praveen, it's good for yeah, AWS. For root, always email it in password. Yes. For IAM, username and password. But please don't get confused with the username and password of EC2 instance is different and IAM username password is different. Yeah. Volume snapshots to access password. Volume snapshot to access password. Directly can we access the EC2? Volumes and snapshots directly you cannot access it for sure. You have to, volume should be attached to the EC2 instance, then only you can use. Okay, now you tell me, Babji, you have an hard disk. Can you directly access hard disk without attaching it to your laptop? Same thing. Snapshot is like a backup. You cannot use the backup unless you create a volume out of it. What will be our job after joining organization? We'll discuss it the last, not now. That's a big topic. Concepts of key pair and PEM. Concepts of key pair and PEM. Yeah. No. किधर चले जाएगा अब्दुल भाई वो? Like, let's keep it like this only. For after AWS, which course should we select? AWS, Python, or DevOps? Go with DevOps. Go with DevOps. And DevOps needs Python. DevOps needs Python. Python is used for automating tasks. Yeah, that's in DevOps. How many tools we have to learn in DevOps? I've told you already. Did we had a DevOps class one time, Babji? I put it like you have Git, Jenkins. In every step, at least you need to have one or two tools. You need to learn that. Yes. Basically, if hard is corrupted, we can record data using Wallet. Yes. True. Yes. Good demo, sir. నా దగ్గర ఇలాంటి చాలా ఉన్నాయి ప్రవీణ్. I have so many things like this. Okay. Can we download PEM file anytime or only during at the first launch? Only during at the time of creating it. Later you cannot download it unless AWS has changed nowadays. We'll see in the practicals. But as far as till date, you need to download at the time of creating it, or you can download it. Now you have an option. You can create separately also. But the best way is I'll show you in practicals for that. Sir, whenever we retrieve password using PEM file, you will get the same password. How we can change the password of EC2 in other EC2 instances? So, administrator password, you can change it, but it's not good for health to change it. But you no need to change. Administrator password, administrator username and password should be same, and you should not give it to any other people. As an admin, you should keep it, and you need to use this Active Directory concepts. Everyone have their own username and password, so that you no need to change the password of your EC2 instances. Oh, okay, that's for joke. So still, how many days we can complete it? Oh my gosh, you want to complete it quickly? Definitely no. We have still long way to go. Guys, I'm going slow. That's the reason. Because anyways you'll be with me only for bunch of days. So let's have full-fledged whatever we learn. We have to learn. Yeah. Going fast is also not good for my health and your health too. Okay, so great. So can you give me final CC for today, guys, on these topics? But those who think you're going slow, guys, this EC2 is the biggest topic, right? And the rest are all like 1, 2, 3 days maximum topics. EC2 is only the biggest topic. Rest are all 1 day, 2 day, maximum 3 days. Yeah. Great. That is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next concept. Don't miss the classes tomorrow. This is very important. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.